Welcome to the downtown studios of Cranford, New Jersey. You're here at the Commissioner's Cove. Alongside of me is the co-commissioner, 13th Legion, and I am the commissioner, Ricky Let Me Down. Welcome to week number 13, Stardoms and Situms.
Getting close to the end, Commish.
Well, we said that last week, but
it's getting closer.
It's this week and next week, and guess what? Fantasy playoffs begin week 15, 16, and 17, and then next thing you know, poof.
Yeah, I know, it's all gone. We got to wait 8 months.
8 months. So we start this up again.
8 months of grind.
All right. That being said, I appreciate you guys coming out, listening. All right. Sit back, relax. Like I say every week, drink your little cafecito, smoke your little cigar, do whatever you do on your own time, on your off time. Just press that play button on my YouTube channel at Commish 2013. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the listening. And you can listen to two old men talk about fantasy football.
I hate when you say that.
It's true. All right, let's get this started. All right, let's get this started. All right, obviously, we talk about the weather. We get the weather out the way.
Yes,
2 weeks in a row, we made a mistake.
We didn't make a mistake.
Well, it's hard because today is Wednesday, and they didn't. Just make sure you guys check the weather report before each game.
Yes.
We had the weather report here on a Wednesday
evening, which is 96 hours before the game.
Right.
You know, most weather forecasts aren't really 100%. And
right.
If they're over 48 hours old, so. Yep. We're really taking a chance here by saying, it's going to be clear and sunny in Buffalo on Sunday, when in reality, 4 days from now, it could be a blizzard.
Right. All right. So make sure you guys update yourselves with the weather reports. All right. Get an app. Check out, I don't know, NFL weather.
Go outside.
Go outside.
Stick your finger in the air. Lick your finger. Find out which direction the wind is blowing.
All right. Let's get to it. Game number 1, Seahawks versus the Cowboys in the Dome. Nothing's going to be wrong on That's Thursday night. Don't forget, please set your lineups. Broncos at the Texans. That's going to be in the Dome. You got the Chargers at the Patriots. This one here, 46 degrees, 28% chance of precipitation. 28% chance as of Wednesday. All right. If it rains or snows in Buffalo, in New England, it gets really ugly. It gets really windy up there. We've had plenty of games over the years where it hurt your fantasy. However, it helps out the running backs.
Yes, it does. And
it sure does.
We've been, in our previous show, we spoke about how Ramondre is kind of having a rebirth in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, because of the weather.
Yeah.
It's the weather. All right. Lions at the Saints. It's in the Dome. Falcons at the Jets. It's here at the Meadowlands. 29% chance of rain, 51 degrees. 51 degrees, kind of warm. All right, for Sunday's game, 1 p.m. Then you have the Cardinals at the Steelers, 1 p.m. That's going to be 52 degrees, 22% chance of rain. Then you got the Colts at Titans. 35% chance of rain, 62 degrees in Tennessee. 62.
Yeah.
When it gets warmer, it might, you never know. It might rain over there. A little drizzle. Who knows? And we know what that means. Fire up King Henry. Okay. And the Colts. We'll talk about the injuries in a moment.
We'll talk about the Colts for 1 second, right?
Go ahead.
A few weeks ago, I brought up the fact that the Colts, you could run on them. And 3 weeks in a row, they're giving up over 100 yards each game.
They
so
sure
King
have.
Henry, I'm sure King Henry's owners out there are going to really like this one.
All right. Dolphins at Commanders. All right. At Washington, 56 degrees, 35% chance of rain.
Oh, please. That's too high. Let's not. I don't want any rain that game. I want perfect conditions.
So do I.
I want the promise of a high-scoring game.
Every week.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I want a good running game. All right. Panthers at the Buccaneers at Tampa. 79 degrees, 12% chance of rain in Florida. In Tampa Bay. All right, then you got the Browns at the Rams. It's in the Dome area, so I think Kyron Williams is going to have another. I don't know if he's going to have another phenomenal game like he did against Arizona, going against the Browns. However, Mr. Myles Garrett's a little dinged up a little bit.
A shoulder injury. Yeah, so I'm sure you're going to put that in the injury report.
Yes.
Let me just say this: Cleveland is a different defense on the road. Mm-hmm. Check out the stats, and they are also susceptible to big runs.
That's true. Against, I remember 2 weeks ago you said you called out Warren.
Pittsburgh, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
And he did well.
Yes.
All right, and the game, there's a big game right here, 49ers versus the Eagles, Sunday, 4:25, foggy. 53 degrees, 35% chance of rain in Philadelphia. It was foggy last week against the Bills.
Yes, it was.
Rain.
Afternoon game. Rain.
Yeah.
Rain.
Rain.
That is a big Big
Big
game.
game, big
and
game.
actually, that's a big game for two reasons. A big game just to determine if Philly's going to basically lock up the division. But if they lose, then the following week's game, which is Dallas, is even bigger.
Yeah. All right, next game we have on for the weather. Chiefs at the Packers at Green Bay. 34 degrees, 36% chance of rain. 8:20 p.m. And then the Monday night game.
Rain or
I know.
snow.
I believe it might be rain or snow. It's going to be cold. And then Bengals at the Jaguars. All right, another game. 66 degrees, 31% chance of rain. That is the weather as of Wednesday. Check the weather report before the games on Sunday. All right, things can change. We've seen it. Okay, we've seen it. All right, let's go to the injuries. And please chime in. All right, Cole? Because I know you know it.
This week is a really bad week. Obviously, most fantasy owners know this.
Yeah.
We have 6 teams on the bye, and any injury is that much more magnified.
It's devastating.
Yeah,
It's devastating.
the waiver wire is barren. These injuries mean a lot.
Yep. All right, let's get to them real quick. Seattle at the Dallas Cowboys. Seattle, Kenneth Walker is questionable, trending and not playing. He's trending and not
Yeah,
playing
I doubt
again
it.
this week, and that's for tomorrow night.
Charbonnet is going to get another start.
He sure is. He didn't do that well against the defense last week, but I think he's going to eat this week a little bit more. All right, we talked about the last week, week number 12, starting in we talked about the 5 yards, getting the ball on the 5-yard line. I think Charbonnet, if they get anything close to the goal line, Charbonnet is going to eat more. Not going to be DJ Dallas. All right, and they're not going to do any quarterback sneaks, and they're not going to do any fades and nothing like that. I think Charbonnet is going to get the ball. All right, there's no one else on Seattle really to update on any other injuries. Everyone's going to play on that. Then the Cowboy news. Rico Dodell, questionable. All right, he's the only one there. All right, we thought last week CeeDee Lamb had an ankle injury. He didn't have an ankle injury. He just needs to get the ball a little bit more. But I digress. All right, let's move on to Indianapolis Colts versus Tennessee Titans. Everyone, if you live under a rock and you don't know, Jonathan Taylor had surgery on his thumb. All right, they're saying 2 to 3 weeks. However, we've heard through the grapevine, how many weeks? 5 weeks?
Possible, but don't forget they're still in the playoff hunt. But we'll see what the next few weeks happens with Indianapolis. If they somehow are out of it, I doubt he comes back this year.
Yep. All right. The Titans defense. The Titans team. You got Treylon Burks is questionable. I think he practiced today. I think he's going to be playing. All right. Then we're going to take the Chargers versus New England. This just updated today. Demario Douglas. If you're counting on Demario Douglas, the wide receiver from New England, he's in concussion protocol. We got the update today, this morning, and no one knew about that. And he's questionable to play this week. All right.
Yes, that would be a big hit for them.
Yeah. Quentin Johnson practiced in full today for the Chargers. So if he's one of your streamer starters, he's good to play. All right, we'll move on to Lions and Saints.
There's another. This person is still on the injury report, but he's due to be he can be activated.
Oh, you talking about Palmer?
Yes, I am. And since Quentin Johnson hasn't been lighting it up, people are wondering if they were going to activate Palmer. So we'll see. Just you guys check it out and keep track to see if he gets activated in the next 2 days. If he's on your bench, great. If he's on the waiver wire, if waivers haven't run yet, put a bid in.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about.
He was pretty consistent before he went out with the.
Yeah, he sure, and he features him a lot because listen, I understand Keenan Allen gets the ball a lot, and I know you fantasy owners like to get him all the targets, but that's not helping that team win. Obviously, we're in the fantasy world, so we like targets, but he trusts Palmer. He'll feature him a little bit more. And I'm not saying Keenan Allen's going to take a big hit, but he might not get 13 targets. He might get 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Still well.
Yeah.
All right, Lions versus the Saints. So you got the latest injuries for the Lions. It's just everyone right now, it should be healthy and good to go for the Lions team. All right, then you got the Saints. Kendrick Miller, the running back's questionable, and Rashid Shaheed. Suffered a quad injury. I don't think he plays this week. There's a couple of Saints out. They're going to be.
Yes.
Michael Thomas is out. Rashid Shaheed's out, and then you have Chris Olave with the.
Possibly, I know. Again, he practiced today, but that doesn't. He's still in concussion protocol. There's a chance that he does not play.
Right.
Even if he does play, 2 players like you mentioned will be out. So
right.
We'll hit on that a little bit more in the stardom section.
Yeah. All right. The Falcons versus the New York. I was going to say New York Football Jets, but I'm not even going to do that to them. New York Jets. All right, the Jets, the Falcons. You got Matt Collins, questionable wide receiver, but he's not really fancy worthy. And then This is a big one.
What is it?
The Jets activated Aaron Rodgers designated from the IR today.
Did you see? He was out there practicing.
I mean, are you serious?
I think the word is that depending on what the record is going to depend on whether or not they play him.
Why would you put...
I can't believe that someone's going to come back from an Achilles injury.
I just can't.
Within the season. That's incredible.
So if you guys need a quarterback, a streamer, pick up Aaron Rodgers. But that's good for Garrett Wilson owners, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. I just can't believe that. Arizona Cardinals versus Pittsburgh Steelers. Michael Wilson still questionable. I'm not sure if he's going to play. He might be out again. All right, Michael Wilson. Let's see here. Kenny Pickett for the Steelers, questionable, but he was practicing. I think he plays. You have the Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield. They're optimistic that he's going to play with his ankle injury, and he will suit up versus the Panthers on
They're
Sunday.
still in the hunt, Commish. So everyone's going to try to get out there and do the best they can while they're still in the playoff hunt.
So, yeah, Baker Mayfield, if you have him, and he's all you got, I think you're going to be forced to start him. Dolphins.
Yes, like I said, 6 teams on the bye. You just really, it's
Well, you
ugly
can pick
out
up Aaron
there.
Rodgers.
He's not going to start this week.
I know, but I'm just saying. Miami Dolphins versus the Commanders. Believe it or not, dude, did not practice today. I got an update today. Did not practice. Tyreek.
Mostert, yes.
Mostert didn't start. Didn't practice today. All right, you got Claypool, who's out questionable. Achan has not because of the knee. Okay.
Did he practice?
No.
All right.
He didn't practice today. So these are big. Wide receiver for your fantasy. They're gonna play.
It's the first day of the regular practice week. Usually that first day is veterans, rest day,
Yeah.
quote unquote. I'm not too worried about it.
All right. Denver versus Houston. You got Noah Brown, questionable with the knee.
Yes, but he did practice.
He did.
Yes,
He did. Okay, then no one for Denver. Denver's, believe it or not, like you said, they won 5 in a row. They're pretty healthy right now. They're coming on strong.
yes, they are. They've
coming on
gotten
strong.
healthy as the year has gone
Yeah.
on, and they've gelled together. One other injury that did come across, I don't know if you have it, was that it was reported that Tank Dell has a calf injury. He sustained that towards the end of the game last Sunday, but the Houston Texans don't seem too concerned about it.
Yeah.
They did do an imaging test on it, though.
All right.
So
that's
we'll
good
see.
stuff.
Just pay attention to the next couple of days.
All right, Cleveland Brown versus the Rams. You got with Cleveland, Marquise Goodwin's questionable. They really don't throw him the ball anyway. And then no one on the Rams. I think everyone on the Rams is healthy except for Cooper Kupp still nursing that little injury. I'm not sure if it's really affecting him, but you could tell last week he didn't do that well, so it might be affecting him.
Well, both receivers didn't do well, so who knows what the deal was last week.
Yeah, I'm not liking that.
And don't forget, you're still dealing with Myles Garrett with a shoulder injury.
Yep. That's right. I apologize, Myles Garrett. So please. Oh, another. The Cleveland Browns. I forgot. I just saw it. The secretary just gave me the paperwork.
Yes. She was quick. I didn't even see her coming in.
Well,
and do that.
she's trained to just give me the
Stealth,
paperwork real
like
quick.
a ninja.
The quarterback, DTR, is out concussion, and guess who's taking first team reps?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Well, yes. So if you need a quarterback,
Yes.
Now they listed him as the second string guy. So
He's gonna start.
They said he possibly could start.
He's gonna
pay attention the next few days. There is a chance that he does start. Yes.
Smoking Joe Flacco. All right.
Oh, yeah, and I don't know if that's who is gonna benefit the most. I mean, when he was with the Jets, he liked throwing it deep to Garrett. So
We'll see.
maybe Amani well-dressed Cooper.
Yeah. All right, San Fran versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Hurts. He does what Hurts does, but still with the knee, his knee still bothering him a little bit.
It didn't seem to bother him.
It didn't bother him. He's good to go. All right, Dallas Goedert's still out. All right, and nobody on, believe it or not, San Fran.
Actually, there was a rumor that he might stretch to play this week.
Who?
Goddard.
But he's not going to play. I don't think so. They might
see.
save him for a couple of weeks. He could sit, especially with a first round bye in playoffs.
He might come in as a decoy.
Nah. All right, Kansas City versus Green Bay Packers. Jared McKinnon, his groin is slated. He practiced on Wednesday. Practiced today. Okay, Kadarius Toney is questionable. Mecole Hardman is placed. I believe he's on IR with the sprained right thumb. And Aaron Jones is questionable. I don't think he plays. And Musgrave will probably not return this year. He will not return. And one more game, Bengals versus the Jaguars. T. Higgins is still questionable. And I believe there's an injury on Jacksonville. I can't remember who it was or not. Offensive lineman. Don't quote me on that one as well. All right, let's move on. All right.
What you got next, Commish?
I got strength of schedule. All right, let's go through real quick strength. We went through a lot with the weather and the injury updates. Let's do strength of schedule. Again, I do this every week for the most part for the last 2-3 weeks for Draft Sharks, and to show you guys, all right, the strength of schedule for week 13. I'm going to read off the top 4 of who you have or who you should not play. All right, unless you're forced to play against a tight end. So this week right now, you got the Cincinnati. You got any Jacksonville, Evan Ingram.
Any Jacksonville tight end?
Jacksonville tight ends. All right, they're facing Cincinnati, who's the worst against tight ends. Okay, the Cincinnati Bengals. So Evan Ingram, you could fire up if you want to. Then you have the Denver Broncos facing Houston. All right, they're second worst. All right, in the league for tight ends. Number 3 comes in New England, believe it or not, and I'm sorry, New England Patriots tight ends, but they don't really throw much to their tight ends anyway, because they're facing the Chargers, and the Chargers are pretty horrible with their defense for the tight ends. And coming in number 4, believe it or not, for the tight ends, the Rams, right? And you have Njoku. Cleveland Browns are playing the Rams.
Yeah, I do believe we went through this not too long ago.
Right.
A couple of weeks ago, Njoku actually has the best strength of rest of the season
Right.
strength of schedule as for a tight end.
But what I do is this is for week number 13, and then next week we'll go into week 14. All right. So that's week 13. This is the wide receivers. Coming in number 1 is the Miami Dolphins wide receivers against Washington. If you have any of them, fire them up. Obviously, you fire them up regardless. But I'm just saying that they have the best right now, week number 13 wide receivers.
Yeah, Washington has been susceptible to big plays down
plays.
the field. We go back to the game against Chicago when DJ Moore exploded for 200 yards. We go back to when the Giants played him a couple of weeks ago, and Jalen Hyatt had big, and Darius Slayton had big gains.
Yep.
They just give up big gains.
Yep. Next game. Next set of wide receivers: San Fran against Philly. Okay. But monitor the weather over there. Not sure if it's going to rain again. It's been affecting the wide receiver a little bit with the rain and the fog. So just monitor that. Number 3 is New England wide receivers against the Chargers. Chargers give up big plays. And number 4, here goes. This is a little something I wasn't expecting. You got the Carolina Panthers with Thielen facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 4 for week number 13. Okay, because they give up the 4th most points to wide receivers.
Carolina. No.
Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Tampa Bay. All right.
Yes, if there's a chance for Carolina to do anything with Thielen, it would be against Tampa Bay. And, actually quite the opposite for Tampa, because Rashad White should have a good day against a very bad run defense from Carolina.
From your lips to God's ears, my friend. Thank you. All right. Let's go to running backs. Everyone wants to hear about the running backs. You got the Houston Texans running backs against the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos defense has improved.
I was just going to say that. We just mentioned that they've improved.
But did they calculate everything throughout all the weeks of this week 13?
Yes. And this is what I wanted to tell you earlier. Don't take this information as gospel or in a vacuum. It's just part of your research.
Right.
Along with weather, along with injuries, along with, the recency. How's Denver been doing the last 3 weeks?
They've been doing well.
Doing well.
Yeah,
right?
doing well.
Exactly. So you got to take these things into consideration.
Yep. All right. Number 2, Pittsburgh running backs. All right. They're facing Arizona. Arizona's horrendous.
Yes.
Yes. But I do have a concern there.
What is the concern?
The concern is I want to talk about the touches in a moment. We talked about Warren. Warren has overtaken the starting position over.
No, he hasn't.
Hold on, over Harris. However, Harris outtouched him in week number 12.
Because he never took over as RB1 for that team.
Took over.
He did not. We put that to rest weeks ago. It's still the same. They're 1A and 1B. 1A being Najee, 1B being Jalen.
All right. So the next number 3.
And actually, Najee's really truly been a 1A the last few weeks.
Right. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running backs. You just talked about White facing Carolina. And number 4, we talked about, I believe we talked about the last segment, was Tennessee, King Henry versus Indiana, the Colts defense.
Yes.
Okay, those are the top 4.
I believe Henry's going to have a good game.
Yep. Let's talk about the quarterbacks, the final with the quarterbacks. For week number 13, number 1, Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Redskins. Tua Tagovailoa against the Washington Redskins defense. We talked about that with the wide receivers. Tua, they haven't
Well, when giving up big plays, that usually benefits the quarterback playing against them. So.
Well, they got him ranked number 1. Number 2 is Brock Purdy against Philly. Okay. Number 3, this I can't believe. Mac and Cheese Jones against Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, Mac and Cheese Jones isn't playing. Billy Zappi is.
Mac and Cheese Jones is going to start and Zappi is going to come in. We all know that. You guys know it. I know it. And he knows it. All right. Even Santa Claus knows it. All right. Let's talk about, and number 4, the Saints. David Carr, Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions come in number 4.
The Detroit Lions had a bad Thanksgiving Day loss.
Sure did.
They're going to be looking for payback. They need to get back on track. Dan Campbell's not going to have it. It's hard for me to see them lose 2 games in a row. It's going to be a pretty good game, I think.
Okay, that's for that. Let's talk about. I have 6 teams right here currently out of the playoffs. These teams right here that I'm gonna talk about real quick and list them.
I'm going to have to start taking notes again, I guess.
Yes, these teams right here are the ones that are going to be playing hard. These are the teams that you want. You don't want the Jalen Hurts week 14, week 15, 16, and all of a sudden they're 11-1 or 12-1, and they're sitting players.
Yes,
We've all been there.
Yes, we have.
You can't. These are the teams that I'm going to give to you guys. Number 1 is Buffalo.
Yes.
All right. Number 2 is Houston Texans. Number 3 is the Denver Broncos. Any player on Denver. Number 4 is the Rams. Rams play hard. Those are the players you want on your team. If you could trade for them, the trade deadline is not done. You can still trade for them, or if you have them on your team. Number 5 is the Saints, and number 6 is
Green Bay Packers. Yeah.
Okay.
And, listen, like I said, it's hard for me to see Detroit losing 2 games in a row. But that Saints team has a lot to play for, obviously.
Yep.
The Lions are a lot closer to a playoff spot than the Saints are. So
that's that. Hold on. Let's go over real quick the week number 12. I want to go over the touches real quick for the running backs. Obviously, the running backs are probably one of the most sought out positions in fantasy football. Besides, obviously, the quarterback, wide receiver. I mean, those are only 2. But the running backs are really we care about because there are many. So,
no, there are not many. And this time of year, with the weather changing, as you always say, Commish.
Always.
Yeah, running backs are important.
So we're going to talk about the usage for week number 12 of the touches so you guys understand how they're being utilized. All right. So if you guys have them and decisions you're going to make, let's talk about Stevenson got 78% of the carries. Bryce
spoke about how he's had a rebirth the last 2 weeks.
You got Hall with 66% of the carries or touches, 66% of the New York Jets. Mostert with the other 2 individuals out, 60% of the touches. However, Wilson 33%. That's half. Okay, anything happens to Mostert, Wilson's the man over there. All right, then you got Buffalo Bills. You got Murray with 44% of the touches, and then Cook with 43% of the touches. They're splitting the catches 50-50 over there in Buffalo. Okay, and
they're splitting the snaps.
They're splitting the snaps. They're splitting the touches.
There is no question about who's been the most efficient and productive.
Well, we all know Cook has been. Yes. All right, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We just talked about them. You got Najee Harris. Najee Harris got 54% of the touches to 48% of Warren on week number 12 with the new offensive coordinator. You just got to take that into account. All right, we'll move on. Jerome Ford with 70% of the touches in Cleveland, and then you got Mixon with 65% of the touches. All right, now when I say touches, I meant he just got 10, and I got to go back from my start in sit-ems. I called Joe Mixon to have to sit last week, and I was right on that. I hit on that one.
Yes, I got to give you credit.
And you hit on Cooks last week as well.
Yes,
all right, Brandon Cooks, just start him. All right, that's just a little tidbit. All right, then you got the Baltimore Ravens. You got Mitchell with 46% of the touches. Okay, over Hill and Gus the Bus Edwards.
Yes, I know they're one of the teams on a bye, but if he is somehow still available waiver wire or via trade, you might want to think about getting him for a stretch run.
So this is a big one. Jonathan Taylor with 58% of the touches and Moss with 41%. Now Moss is
definitely going to change now.
Moss is going to get all of them now. Okay, and it's a shame because I dropped in one of my leagues about 3 weeks ago, but shame on me. I just need the roster space. Singletary. All right, everyone who picked up Devin Singletary, 82% of the touches over Pierce's 18%.
Yeah, Pierce did not look good.
Did not look good at all. I think
I don't know if that ankle injury or whatever was bothering him is still bothering him, or he's just not the same guy.
ATM, 62% of the touches. King Henry, 64% of the touches.
Oh, hold on. Let's go back to ATN.
Yes.
You nervous?
Of course.
62%.
Yeah.
He was at 70 earlier in the year. He's gone down.
It's gone down a little bit. I'm getting
Yes.
a little nervous about that. King Henry was 64% of the touches. Spears with 40%. Then you got Javonte Williams with 70% of the touches. Pacheco 78% of the touches. I think he's the main horse there. Then you got Eckler with 80% of the touches, 20% for Kelly. There's no discrepancy there. You got Jacobs 76% of the touches. All right, to 21% for Abdullah. Then Barkley 81%, Pollard 76%, Swift 64%, Gibson 46%, Robinson 45% of the touches. Believe it or not, Robinson got 17 touches to Gibson's 9 touches for week number 12. Okay?
Well, they might be non-entities in the Miami game this week.
Yep.
If it's high scoring, who knows if they're going to get any touches.
We'll see. There's a big one here. The Chicago Bears. Roshan Johnson with 74% of the touches, got 15 touches to Herbert's 8 touches. Is there a changing of the guard there in Chicago?
No.
Okay. That was just because maybe he was coming back.
No. That's because Deontay was out, Deontay Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they had a negative game script and they had to pass the ball. And they, the talk going into camp that Roshan was the better catching back out of the backfield, and that's what it was. His usage was based on catching the football. If Chicago goes into next week's game and they decide to run the ball and then they have the lead, Khalil Herbert will be there.
All right.
Roshan's not going to disappear. Don't get me wrong.
All right.
It's just that don't look at this and say this is a changing of the guard. All of a sudden, Roshan's going to get 70% of the carries. I don't see it.
Okay, Dylan. Yes.
One more thing, Commissioner. They're on a bye this week.
Yes.
And Deontay Foreman is scheduled to come back after the bye. So now you have a 3-way committee backfield, which is like death. So
Yeah. Okay. Green Bay Packers. Dylan 52% of the touches and Taylor with 48% of the touches. But that's Dylan 17 touches to Taylor's 4 touches. Madison 56% of the touches. This is a big one here because it's a shame because I really thought Chandler overtook that position and it seems as though after week 12's touches he didn't. It just seems though he didn't take over.
it seems that way. I watched the game.
Yeah.
I still can't believe they're going to give Alexander Madison all the touches. But it was a weird game anyway. I'm just trucking this up. They do have a very good running back friendly schedule the rest of the year. I think Ty Chandler still is going to be relevant.
I know, but you know what? After
it's a little disappointing.
It's
You're right.
disappointing.
Yes.
All right. Obviously, this one here, you got Detroit Lions 71% of the touches for Gibbs. 27% of the touches for Montgomery, which makes no sense because Gibbs got 15 touches and Montgomery got 15 touches and Gibbs got 71%. I think they incorporate the pass out the backfield more. Okay.
Oh, you're talking about snaps here.
Snaps and touches.
Yes.
Okay. Kamara, obviously 64%. Hubbard, 64%. Rashad White, 87%. Bijan went up 63% of the touches. He finally is getting the touches later on in the year.
Well, maybe Arthur Smith is realizing that his job is on the line.
Yep. So you guys with Bijan Robinson, I think he's coming on hard. He's coming on strong, and he's coming on exactly when you need him in the playoffs. So good for you guys. Then you got Williams, Kyron, 61%. McCaffrey, there's no need to explain that one. Connor, 42%. Carter with 38%. All right, of the snaps and touches. Charbonnet with 88. And that's what I have. That's all I have for the running back usage for week number 12. You have anything, my friend?
You want to pick a couple of sit-ems?
Yes.
And start-ems?
Okay, I got a couple of sit-ems this week. Week number 13, in my opinion, I have 4 of them. Real quick, I have McLaurin versus the Miami Dolphins. That's who I have. You have someone that's going to combat that. You have a start, correct?
I do have a start. The same game. We're talking about it, and we went over this before. Mm-hmm. McLaurin has had bad 3 games. Mm-hmm. Sam Howell found another receiver all of a sudden, Curtis Samuel, who had 100 yards receiving. I think Curtis Samuel is going to continue in that role this week against Miami, especially because I figure they're going to be down.
Okay.
So that's my start. One of my startums.
To my sit.
To your sit.
All right.
Yes.
Number 2, I got Drake London as my sit versus the New York Jets. The Falcons are going to run more against this tired defense.
Run
Yeah.
and tired. You're absolutely correct.
They're just beat tired.
Yes.
So I'm sitting.
That's the way they looked last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
Black Friday. They looked tired in that fourth quarter, and I think that's the reason why Mostert had those 2 big runs.
Yep. I think you sit Drake London. That's one of my second sit.
Yeah, well, listen.
You have a start?
Atlanta loves to run the ball, so I think that's a good sit. A start in that game, no. But another start that I do have is Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson is a start for me against Washington because I think that they will be playing with a lead. I think they're going to take the opportunity to rest Mostert as much as they can. And if Achane plays, if they get a lead, he'll be put back to the bench. Also, that leaves Jeff Wilson.
Okay.
That's why I'm going with him as a good start.
Okay.
Flex guy at least.
Okay. My number 3 sit is Charbonnet versus Dallas.
Yes, I know. You read off some good stats. 88%, I believe you just said.
Yeah.
The touches out of the backfield, which
I think
is
they're
great.
gonna be, I think they're gonna be down.
The only way he's going to get his points this week is probably catching the ball out
Yeah.
of the backfield. I think they're going to try to run the ball, and if they can keep it close, he's going to be relevant.
Right.
I just think their defense right now, Seattle defense, has given up a lot of points.
Yep.
And I don't think, unfortunately, they're going to be playing with a lead or anywhere close to it. So if you have Charbonnet like I do in one of the leagues, I would love to start him. He's listed as a top 24 back this week, so he's an RB2. But if you have someone like a Ridley, I don't know. Who would you start, Zach Charbonnet or Calvin Ridley?
I would start Calvin Ridley. That's where I would start.
All right. Well, anyway, that's your sit, right?
That's my sit.
That's your sit. I have another start.
Oh yeah.
All right. We spoke about the injuries over in New Orleans, right? With Olave might not be playing. Tom is definitely not playing. Juwan Johnson still banged up a little, right? Rashid Shaheed definitely not playing, right? Taysom Hill. He's going to be relevant again in this game. You know, he disappears some games, and in some games he comes back with a fury. This is going to be one of those games.
I have someone.
A high-scoring game with Detroit, he's going to be relevant.
I do have someone from my start that's gonna link up with your Tyson Hill. I have for one of my starts, my sneaky starts. If you guys need a wide receiver, check him out. It's probably you won't start him, but maybe on your DFS lineup, maybe,
Possibly.
AT. That's Alpha Tango Perry,
Yeah.
the wide receiver from the Saints.
Yes.
Like he said, like the coach said, with Thomas out on IR, Olave with concussion protocol, you know he might play. Rashid out, training to miss some time against. I think this kid AT Perry gets the ball deep with Carr.
Well, that's not bad.
I do have another start. I got Michael Carter, the running back, caught 4 passes for 34 yards as their record continues to get worse, which is Arizona. All right, they may give him more touches and see what he's got and what they have in the running back position. They may.
They may
say Connor. They know what they have in
What's the
Connor.
running risk for Connor? You're right.
They know.
You're right. And it's funny you just we don't talk about things. There's no there's no collaboration that goes on when we pick these starters themselves. No. It's just funny how we both think alike.
Yeah.
That Arizona game is my next 2 starts. Maybe even for DFS are also the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
So I have 2 real quick. If Michael Wilson, who has a shoulder injury, does not play, Greg Dortch, good pickup, waiver wire, PPR, especially PPR. Kyler Murray had a connection with him last year. It just seemed like he picked up with him the last 2 games, right where he left off.
I think he had 4 catches last week, didn't he?
Well, I think it was more than that, but I don't have the stats right here in front of me. But Greg Dortch is definitely one, and the other guy who I know had 12 targets and 6 catches for 88 yards, but left a lot of money on the field was Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown had the highest number of air yards for a receiver last week, 189. So you're talking about. Very good. You were right. 3 catches.
3 catches, 27 yards, and a touchdown for Greg Dortch.
Yeah. And the week before,
he had 6 for 76.
He likes Greg Dortch. He likes passing to him. But like I was saying, Marquise Brown left 189 air yards on the field, and who knows, maybe a long touchdown. So those things tend to even out. He could catch those balls next time, and he might have over 100 yards.
Yeah.
He's been missing, he's been there. And don't forget, he went there with the extreme purpose of playing with Kyler Murray. So, listen, that's another guy. Take a chance, DFS. You might not be disappointed.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep. I have one more sit.
All right. What's your sit?
My sit, and I'm going to go back to your strength of schedule. All right. This is the reason why we don't pick things in a vacuum, right? But we'll see at the end of the day next week if this was correct or not, right? So we talk about how Denver has one of the worst defenses against tight ends, right? So Dalton Schultz, they're playing Houston. Dalton Schultz would logically be a good start, right? However, Dalton Schultz has disappeared the last few weeks. That's
He
because
sure
of the
has.
return of Brevin Jordan and Nico Collins. So Nico Collins being back, Brevin Jordan taking up some pass attempts. Schultz has pretty much disappeared. So, if you're going to start Schultz against a shaky Denver defense against tight ends, fine. That's all well and good. You just maybe take it with a little grain of salt. That may not give you as many points as you think he is. Also, Noah Brown might be coming back.
Yeah, good stuff.
There's only so many passes C.J. Stroud can throw.
Well, he's been throwing a lot of them. All right, he's been throwing a lot.
And that's why, in my opinion, he should be a sit. And that's it for me, Commissioner, for this week.
All right, this is going to be the last segment before we close out this show. All right, we've been talking about a lot of information here to give.
Yes,
we don't want to
I've got
overload.
a headache with all the information.
We don't want to overload the individuals that are watching us at home.
Yes, I'm sure they're going to have to replay this just to.
I have the panic
Catch
meter.
everything.
I have
Panic meter.
All right, panic meter. All right, just pretend like we both don't have these individuals. Panic meter. All right, Austin Eckler, number 1. Panic meter. 1 through 5. What do you have him at?
A 2.
A 2. All right. You have him at a 2. It says here it was the first time since 2018 that he finished with single-digit PPR points in consecutive weeks. That's a panic meter for me. I have him. I got him at about a 3 or 4. Or that's how I have him. He has been held out of the end zone in 4 of 8, 50% of the games this season. This season.
Yes, he was a touchdown machine
Yes.
last year, yes.
In 2023, when Eckler doesn't score a TD, he averages 8 points PPR. That, my friend, is not a 2. That is a 4 or a 5 for me.
No, I will give you this. All right.
All right.
In a league where draft value is everything, he was most fantasy drafts last year or this year
Right.
earlier. He was drafted 1 or 2.
Right, he
He
sure
is
was.
definitely not worth his ADP with the stats that he has this so far this year.
They're blaming it on the offensive coordinator. Let's move on to the second guy. Tua Tagovailoa. They are. Panic meter.
Listen, I understand Kellen Moore, but look, Kellen Moore was an offensive genius in Dallas, wasn't he?
I don't know about that. That's why. If he was, he'll still
And
be
Joe
there.
Lombardi was bad,
Let's move on. Tua Tagovailoa. 1 through 5.
I'm not worried about Tua.
Okay.
2.
2. Pretty good. After season low, 7.82 points.
Watch.
And, hold on.
He's going to blow up for 30
In
points.
week number
this
12, Tua dropped down to quarterback number 13 this season. He's been dropping down. He's been losing a little lackluster. He's a little lackluster later on in the years. I'm attributing, and we know I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm attributing that into A, it's been a long season. B, he's never really played this many games. He's always been hurt every year. And that's fair.
Interesting take.
It's true.
He's played this many games before.
No, not this long into the year. Remember, he's been hurt. Usually he's out by now.
I don't buy that
All
as
right,
an excuse.
number
Go
th-
ahead.
I think the weather's changing. All right. I don't think I gotta say I don't know if Tua can throw in the cold. I don't think so. I think
Okay.
you need the running game. That's why it's important for Miami to win out and get that home field advantage and play in Miami. I really do.
I do, and I think there was some absurd stat about how many wins they have at home as
Yeah.
compared to the road. Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Go ahead. Give me another reason. Trying to get 2,000 yards for Tariq.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's force feeding him.
Yes.
All right, so he's not really
I
looking.
have a reason.
What's the reason?
Maybe he's just not that good against good competition.
Whoa. So you need to slow.
He's been playing some pretty good teams.
So hold on now. Dak Prescott's been playing terrible competition as well. He had one great game. He had a great game against Philly.
Dak Prescott's had some tremendous games recently. Where have you been?
But when look at Herbert. Herbert can't be a good team either. But you guys.
Well, what do you mean, you guys?
You guys put him on a pedestal.
Herbert-
I don't want to. Keep your name out of his.
You got issues, my friend.
All right, let's move on. Terry McLaurin.
We all know Herbert's better.
Terry McLaurin. 1 through
Yes.
5.
Am I 1 through 5 panic meter this week or for the rest of the season?
Rest of the season.
2.
Okay. And Adam Thielen.
I'm more worried about Adam Thielen. I give him a panic meter of 4.
All right, that's fair.
4. And it's not Adam's fault. He doesn't have much in the tank. I understand that. But Bryce Young's not looking good.
James Conner. Last one.
If you're looking for him to carry you through the end of the season, I doubt it. I'd be worried if I was a James Conner owner of 4 because of what we just said.
Yeah.
They might be looking to see what other players got, and they might be looking to preserve them for next year. I mean, we really don't have anything to play for.
Cole, that is all I have for week number 13, starters and sit-ems.
We're going to have a more in-depth debate about Tua. We've already done it off air. But I really think that, it's not, let's just say not Tua.
It's not
Tua. It's not Tua. It's the Dolphins. It's the Dolphins are having trouble against better teams.
Okay, we'll talk about that off the air. I don't want want them to.
You want to press the curse button again.
I don't want them to know what we talk about my Dolphins. But that being said,
we let them know everything. We let them know that we're in negotiations for future sponsors.
That is all I have for week number 13, startums and situms. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate everyone listening. Good luck this week on your games. If you like this program, like this show, leave a comment below, please. We are always welcome to comments. I always look every week to make sure I always interact with you guys if you guys leave anything. And good luck with everything. Hopefully you win, unless you're playing myself or the Court Commissioner.
Yes, and check your weather reports.
And check your weather reports. You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dance.